The message arrived during the middle of the night shift. Captain Minjun Park stood on the bridge of the USS Blackstar, watching stars stream past the view screen as his ship traveled through deep space. They were 3 months into testing new weapon systems, far from any inhabited world. The experimental technology aboard his vessel represented humanity's greatest scientific achievement, but it remained unproven in real combat. "Captain, we're receiving a distress signal," said Commander Hyejin Choi from her station. Her voice carried an unusual tension that made Minjun turn immediately. "It's on all frequencies. Someone wants the entire galaxy to hear this." Minjun walked to her console. "Play it." The view screen flickered. An alien appeared, unlike any species Minjun had encountered during his 20 years in space. The creature had pale blue skin, large eyes that seemed too sad for any living being, and delicate features that reminded him of crystal sculptures. When it spoke, the translation software rendered its words into clear English. "I am Ambassador Talvix of the Talvari Confederacy. Our worlds are dying. The Krell Dominion has invaded our space with a fleet of 600 warships. They do not seek our resources or our territory. They seek our extinction." The ambassador's voice broke. "We have petitioned the Galactic Council for aid. We have begged our neighbors for help. All have refused. The Krell are too powerful, they say. Intervention would mean war across multiple sectors, so we are abandoned to our fate." The image shifted to show a planet burning. Cities crumbled under orbital bombardment. Ships fled the dying world only to be hunted down and destroyed by sleek Krell vessels. Minjun felt his chest tighten as he watched families running through streets while fire fell from the sky. "3 of our 7 worlds have already been sterilized," Talvix continued. 4 billion Talvari are dead. In 72 hours, the Krell fleet will reach our core worlds. Another 8 billion will die. I send this message knowing it changes nothing. But let the galaxy remember that we died asking for help that never came. The transmission ended. Silence filled the Blackstar's bridge. "Sir?" Hyejin looked at him with an expression he recognized. She had already made her decision. She was waiting for his. Minjun studied the star charts. The Talvari core worlds were 18 hours away at maximum speed. The Blackstar could reach them before the Krell fleet arrived, but his orders were explicit. Complete the weapons trials. Return to Earth. Do not engage in any conflicts without authorization from Fleet Command. "How long to get a response from Earth?" he asked. 40 hours minimum," replied Lieutenant Sung-Ho Lee from the communications station. "We're too far out for anything faster." 40 hours. By then, the Talvari would be extinct. Minjun thought about his daughter. She was 7 years old, safe on Earth, probably sleeping peacefully in her bed. What kind of galaxy would she inherit? One where genocide happened while good people followed orders. One where the strong devoured the weak because intervention was too inconvenient? "Dr. Kim," he called to his chief science officer, "are the weapons systems ready for combat operations?" Dr. Ji-Woo Kim looked up from her console. She was a small woman with sharp eyes who had designed most of the Blackstar's revolutionary technology. "The systems are functional, Captain, but we haven't completed full testing protocols. There could be unexpected complications." "Will they work?" "Against a conventional fleet?" "Yes, I believe so." Minjun made his decision. "Commander Choi, set course for the Talvari core worlds, maximum speed." Hyejin smiled, but Sung-Ho spoke up quickly. "Captain, our orders—" "I'm aware of our orders, Lieutenant," Minjun interrupted gently. "I'm also aware that 600 Krell warships are about to murder 8 billion civilians. If Fleet Command wants to court-martial me for stopping a genocide, they can do so after we save the Talvari." "We don't even know if we can win," Sung-Ho pressed. 600 ships against 1. Those aren't odds, Captain. That's suicide." The Blackstar isn't an ordinary ship, Dr. Kim said quietly. We built her for a specific purpose, to protect those who cannot protect themselves. If not now, then when? Min-jun looked at his young weapons officer. Sung-ho was 26, brilliant, and afraid. He had every right to be. What Min-jun was proposing violated every regulation in the book. It might start a war. It would certainly end careers, possibly lives. I won't order anyone to follow me, Min-jun said. This is my decision. If anyone wants to register an objection, do so now. It will be noted in the log. You won't be held responsible for my choice. No one spoke. Commander Choi? Min-jun asked. Course laid in, Captain. We'll reach the Talvari system in 17 hours. Dr. Kim? Running final diagnostics on all weapon systems. We'll be ready. Lieutenant Lee? Sung-ho took a deep breath. Weapon systems armed and standing by, sir. Min-jun nodded. He felt the weight of command settle on his shoulders like a physical burden. One ship against 600. An untested crew with experimental weapons against a fleet that had already destroyed 3 worlds. The rational part of his mind screamed that this was insane. But he had seen that planet burning. He had watched families die, and he refused to let it happen again without even trying to stop it. All hands, this is the captain, he announced over the ship's intercom. We've received a distress call from the Talvari Confederacy. They're facing extinction from a hostile fleet. We're moving to intervene. What we're about to do is dangerous. Some might call it foolish. But we didn't join the fleet to watch innocents die. We joined to make a difference. Today we get that chance. He closed the channel and stared at the stars rushing past. 17 hours, Hyejin said softly beside him. Do you think we'll be enough? Min-jun thought about the Blackstar's experimental weapons, technology designed not for conquest but for defense, systems that could, theoretically, change the nature of space combat forever. I don't know, he admitted, but the Talvari are about to find out they're not alone anymore. The USS Blackstar raced through the darkness, carrying humanity's hope and fury toward an impossible battle. The Blackstar dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Talvari system. What appeared on the view screen made Min-jun's blood run cold. 4 planets orbited a yellow star. The outermost world was already dead, its surface glowing with residual heat from orbital bombardment. The Krell fleet hung in space like a swarm of metal insects, 600 warships arranged in perfect formation. They surrounded the remaining 3 inhabited worlds, their weapons charged and ready. They're waiting, Hyejin observed. They could have started the bombardment already. Dr. Kim studied her sensors. They're enjoying this, making the Talvari watch their own execution, the psychological torture before the final blow. Min-jun felt rage build in his chest. The Krell weren't just warriors, they were sadists. Captain, we're being hailed, Sung-ho reported. It's from the 2nd planet. Talvari transmission. Put it through. Ambassador Talvix appeared on screen, but the elegant alien from the distress message was gone. This Talvix looked broken, eyes hollow with despair. Then the ambassador saw the Blackstar, and something impossible happened. Hope flickered across those delicate features. You came, Talvix whispered. I never thought you actually came. We're here to help, Min-jun said. Evacuate as many civilians as possible to underground shelters. This is about to get very loud. 1 ship against their entire fleet, that's suicide. Let us worry about that. Get your people to safety now. Talvix hesitated, then nodded. May the stars guide you, Captain. Whatever happens, know that you gave us hope in our darkest hour. The transmission ended. The Krell have detected us, Hyejin announced. They're changing formation, moving to intercept. On the view screen, a portion of the massive fleet broke away. 50 Krell warships turned toward the lone human vessel. They moved with the confidence of predators who had never known defeat. "They're hailing us," Sung-Ho said. A Krell commander appeared on screen. The alien was tall and covered in dark scales, with eyes like chips of black ice. When it spoke, its voice carried contempt so thick Min-Jun could taste it. "Human vessel, you are interfering in Krell affairs. Withdraw immediately or share the Talvari's fate." Min-Jun stood. "I am Captain Min-Jun Park of the United Earth ship Blackstar. You are conducting genocide against a peaceful species. Cease your attack and withdraw, or we will remove you by force." The Krell commander laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "You threaten us? One ship against 600? Your species is even more foolish than we believed. Very well, die with the Talvari. Perhaps it will teach other inferiors not to interfere in the business of their betters." The transmission cut off. 50 ships incoming, Ye-Jin reported calmly. "They're taking attack formation. Dr. Kim, status on the resonance cannons?" The science officer's fingers flew across her console. "Charged and ready, Captain, but remember, we've never fired them in actual combat. The theoretical models might not match reality." "Only one way to find out. Lieutenant Lee, prepare to fire on my command." Sung-Ho's hands trembled slightly as they hovered over the weapon's controls. "Targeting solutions locked. All batteries ready." The Krell ships opened fire first. Energy beams lanced through space toward the Blackstar. Min-Jun watched the attacks come, trusting in his ship's defenses. The beams hit the Blackstar's shields and simply stopped. Not absorbed, not deflected. Stopped, as if they had hit a wall made of frozen space itself. "Shields holding at 98%, Ye-Jin reported with satisfaction. "Harmonic field technology is working as designed." The Krell fired again, and again. Their weapons had devastated 3 worlds, destroyed thousands of Talvari ships. Against the Blackstar, they might as well have been throwing rocks. "Their formation is tightening," Min-Jun observed. "They're going to try to overwhelm us with concentrated fire." "Captain," Dr. Kim said. "Permission to activate the Cascade Protocol?" Min-Jun nodded. "Do it." Dr. Kim entered a sequence of commands. Deep in the Blackstar's core, technology that existed nowhere else in the galaxy came to life. Humanity had not designed these weapons for conquest. They had designed them after studying every conflict in recorded history, every tragedy, every failure to protect the innocent. The resonance cannons were the result of one simple question. How do we stop those who will not be reasoned with? "Firing," Sung-Ho announced. The Blackstar's main batteries discharged, but instead of simple energy beams, they released waves of precisely tuned resonance frequencies. The technology was based on a principle Dr. Kim had discovered while researching ways to safely demolish asteroids. Every object had a natural frequency at which it vibrated. Hit that frequency with enough power, and the object would tear itself apart from the inside. The first wave struck the lead Krell ships. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the warships began to shake. Their hulls vibrated faster and faster, stress fractures appearing along every seam and joint. The aliens inside probably had seconds to realize what was happening before their ships literally shook themselves to pieces. 20 Krell warships exploded simultaneously, not from external damage but from internal structural collapse. Debris scattered across space in perfect spheres of shrapnel. The remaining 30 ships scattered in panic. "Adjust frequency for moving targets," Min-Jun ordered. "Don't let them regroup." The Blackstar pursued. It was faster than the Krell ships, more maneuverable, and carried weapons they had no defense against. One by one, the fleeing warships met the same fate as their companions. Hulls vibrating apart, systems failing, ships dying not from overwhelming firepower, but from technology that turned their own structural integrity against them. In 8 minutes, all 50 Krell ships were destroyed. The main fleet, witnessing the slaughter, began to change formation. They had come to exterminate the Talvari. Now they faced something they had never encountered before. An enemy they could not hurt, weapons they could not defend against. A single ship that had just destroyed 50 of their finest warships without taking a single point of damage. "They're hailing us again," Sung-Ho said quietly. The same Krell commander appeared, but the contempt was gone. Now there was only fear. "What are you?" it demanded. Min-Jun smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "We're human, and we've come to protect the Talvari. You have one chance to leave this system peacefully. Withdraw now or discover exactly how serious we are." The commander's black eyes narrowed. "The Krell Dominion does not retreat, does not surrender. We will crush you and the Talvari both." "Then you've made your choice," Min-Jun said softly. The transmission ended. "All ships are moving to attack formation," Ye-Jin reported. "All 600. They're coming for us with everything they have." Min-Jun looked at his crew. Dr. Kim sat ready at her console. Ye-Jin's face showed fierce determination. Even young Sung-Ho had stopped trembling. They had just won their first battle. Now came the war. "Bring us about," Min-Jun commanded. "Let's show them what happens when you threaten innocent lives in front of humans." The USS Blackstar turned to face the oncoming fleet, alone but unafraid. 600 Krell warships came at them like a tidal wave of metal and fury. They filled the view screen, blocking out the stars themselves. Each ship carried enough firepower to level a city. Together they had destroyed 3 worlds. Now they all focused on one target, the USS Blackstar. "Impact in 30 seconds, Ye-Jin announced. Her voice remained steady, but Min-Jun could see her knuckles white on the armrests of her chair. "Dr. Kim, distribute shield power across all sections. Sung-Ho, I want rotating fire patterns. Hit them in waves. Don't give them time to adapt." "Understood," both officers replied. The Krell opened fire. The space around the Blackstar turned into a storm of energy beams, plasma torpedoes, and kinetic rounds. Enough firepower to vaporize a moon struck the small human ship from every direction at once. The Blackstar's shields flared bright blue as they absorbed the impossible barrage. Warning lights flickered across the bridge consoles. The deck vibrated beneath their feet. "Shields at 73%, Ye-Jin called out. "The harmonic fields are holding, but this much concentrated fire is starting to bleed through." Min-Jun gripped his command chair. The shields would hold. They had to hold. Dr. Kim's breakthrough in harmonic frequency fields made the Blackstar nearly invulnerable to conventional weapons. But nearly was not the same as completely. If 600 ships kept up this bombardment, eventually something would give. "Return fire," he ordered. The Blackstar's resonance cannons came alive. Precisely tuned waves of energy lanced out toward the enemy fleet. The first wave struck a cluster of 40 Krell ships. Their hulls began to vibrate, faster and faster, until the molecular bonds holding their structures together simply gave up. 40 warships became expanding clouds of debris. "Adjusting frequency," Sung-Ho reported. "Targeting second wave." The Krell fleet tried to scatter, but they were too close together. Their own numbers became a weakness. Ships collided as they attempted to evade. Some fired on their own vessels in the chaos. The perfect formation dissolved into panic. The Blackstar moved through the confusion like a shark among fish. Its resonance weapons found target after target. Each pulse was carefully calculated by Dr. Ray Kim's systems to match the exact frequency of the enemy ship's hull composition. The Krell had built their warships strong. That strength became their downfall as the ships literally shook themselves apart. 100 destroyed, Ye-Jin counted. 200, they're trying to regroup. A group of Krell commanders proved smarter than their companions. About 100 ships broke away from the main fleet and began firing from maximum range. They stayed spread out, never clustering close enough to be hit by a single resonance pulse. "They're learning," Dr. Kim observed. Then we teach them faster, Min-jun replied. Activate the hammer protocol. Dr. Kim hesitated. Captain, the hammer protocol hasn't been tested. The power requirements are enormous. We might overload the reactor. Can it work? In theory, yes. Then do it. Dr. Kim's fingers flew across her console. Deep in the Blackstar, the reactor output increased to dangerous levels. Energy flowed through systems designed to handle forces that would tear ordinary ships apart. The bridge lights dimmed as power redirected to the weapons. Hammer protocol ready, Dr. Kim announced. Fire. What emerged from the Blackstar was not a beam or a pulse. It was a wave of pure resonance energy that expanded outward in all directions. Every ship within 1,000 kilometers felt it. The wave passed through shields as if they did not exist, passed through armor like it was paper, and struck directly at the molecular structure of everything it touched. The 100 ships trying to maintain distance all shook simultaneously. Their crews had no time to scream. The vessels simply disintegrated, reduced to component atoms in the span of 3 seconds. The remaining 400 Krell ships stopped firing. Min-jun could imagine their commanders staring at their screens, trying to understand how they had gone from confident attackers to desperate survivors in less than 20 minutes. They're hailing again, Sung-ho said. Ignore it, Min-jun ordered. He opened a channel to the entire Krell fleet. You came here to commit genocide. You destroyed 3 Talvari worlds, killed 4 billion innocent beings. Did you give them a chance to surrender? Did you show them mercy? Silence answered him. I didn't think so. You want to know what humans are? We're the ones who show up when no one else will. We're the ones who stand between monsters and their victims. And we're the ones who make sure that monsters like you understand there are consequences. He nodded to Sung-ho. The resonance cannons fired again and again, each shot carefully aimed, each frequency precisely tuned. The Krell ships died by dozens, then by scores. Some tried to run. The Blackstar hunted them down. Some tried to hide behind the dead Talvari world. The resonance waves found them anyway. The battle became an execution. Min-jun felt no joy in it, only cold necessity. These were not soldiers defending their homes. They were killers who had murdered billions and planned to murder billions more. The galaxy had failed to stop them. So humanity would. 300 destroyed, Hae-jin reported quietly. 350, 400. On the view screen, the space around the Talvari worlds had become a graveyard. Debris from hundreds of warships drifted in slow, silent orbits. The Krell had arrived with enough force to exterminate a species. Now they died among the ruins of their own arrogance. 450 destroyed. 500. The remaining Krell ships clustered together like frightened children. They fired wildly, desperately, their weapons doing nothing against the Blackstar's shields. Some tried to ram the human ship, throwing themselves forward in suicide attacks that accomplished nothing except adding to the debris field. 550 destroyed. Min-jun watched the numbers climb. Part of him wondered if he had become the very thing he hated. A destroyer of life. A dealer of death. Then he remembered the burning Talvari world, the families running through streets as fire fell from the sky. He remembered Talvik's hollow eyes and broken voice. Captain, Dr. Kim said softly, the remaining ships are powering down weapons. They're surrendering. 47 Krell warships hung in space, their weapons dark, their shields dropped. They broadcast surrender codes on all frequencies. Min-jun looked at them. 47 ships out of 600. He could spare them. Let them run home with their lives and a story about the day they met humanity. Or he could finish what he started. Sir? Sung-ho asked. What are your orders? Minjun thought about mercy, about the rules of war, about what separated humans from the Krell. Then he opened a channel to the surviving ships. You have 10 minutes to activate your faster-than-light drives and leave this system. If you're still here when the time expires, you die with the rest. Tell your Dominion that the Talvari are under Earth's protection now. If the Krell ever return, we won't show even this much mercy. He closed the channel. The surviving Krell ships did not hesitate. Their drives activated, and they vanished into faster-than-light travel, fleeing for their lives. The bridge crew sat in stunned silence. 553 Krell warships destroyed, 47 sent running in terror, 1 human ship victorious. Minjun looked at the Talvari worlds on the view screen. Cities still stood on 3 of them. Billions still lived. The genocide had been stopped. But at what cost? The USS Blackstar drifted among the wreckage of the Krell fleet. Debris surrounded the ship in all directions. Pieces of hull, fragments of weapons systems. The remains of 553 warships that had existed an hour ago and now existed only as scattered atoms. Minjun stood alone in his ready room, staring at a wall display showing casualty estimates. The computer could not give exact numbers. The resonance weapons left very little intact. But based on standard Krell crew complements, somewhere between 200,000 and 300,000 aliens had died in the battle. He had killed them all. The door chimed. "Come in," he said quietly. Hyejin entered, carrying 2 cups of coffee. She set one on his desk without speaking and sat in the visitor's chair. They sat in silence for a long moment. "I keep thinking about them," Minjun finally said. "The Krell. They were monsters, genocidal killers, but they were also living beings. They had families, maybe children. And I ended them." "You saved 8 billion Talvari lives," Hyejin replied. "The Krell would have killed every single one if you hadn't stopped them." "I know. That's what makes it so hard. I'm not sorry I did it. I'd do it again, but that doesn't change what I am now. A mass murderer. The biggest killer in this sector of space." Hyejin sipped her coffee. "My grandfather fought in the Korean War. He told me once that good people should never enjoy violence. The moment you start to like killing, you become the enemy. But good people also need to be capable of violence when evil appears. Otherwise, the evil wins. Does that make what we did right? It makes it necessary. Right and wrong aren't always simple, Captain." Another chime at the door. This time, Dr. Kim entered, followed by Sung Ho. The young weapons officer looked pale. His eyes red as if he had been crying. "The Talvari are asking to come aboard," Dr. Kim reported. "Ambassador Talvix wants to thank us personally." Minjun nodded. "Bring them to the main hangar bay. I'll meet them there." 20 minutes later, Minjun stood in the hangar as a Talvari shuttle landed. The bay doors opened and Ambassador Talvix emerged, followed by a dozen other Talvari. They looked even more delicate in person than they had on screen. Fragile beings who never stood a chance against the Krell war machine. Talvix approached Minjun and did something unexpected. The ambassador knelt, placing both hands on the deck in a gesture Minjun recognized as the highest sign of respect in Talvari culture. "Rise, Ambassador," Minjun said gently. "Please, you don't need to do that." "You saved our entire species," Talvix replied, standing slowly. "Words cannot express our gratitude. We owe you a debt that can never be repaid." Minjun felt uncomfortable with the praise. "We only did what anyone should have done." "But no one else did," Talvix said softly. "The Galactic Council debated. Our neighbors expressed concern. Politicians made speeches. You acted. Captain Park, do you know how rare that is? How precious?" Behind Talvix, the other Talvari nodded. Some were crying. One, a young female, stepped forward. "My children are alive because of you," she said. "They're 6 and 8 years old. They were in a shelter during the battle. When the all-clear sounded and we could go to the surface, they asked me if the humans who saved us were real. They thought you were legends, stories, heroes from ancient myths. She smiled through her tears. I got to tell them you're real. Minjun felt his throat tighten. I'm glad they're safe. The hangar bay doors opened again. More Talvari entered, then more. Hundreds of them, all wanting to see the humans who had stopped their extinction. They filled the bay, looking up at Minjun and his crew with expressions of wonder and gratitude. May we see your ship? Talvix asked. Not the weapons, not the technology. Just, we want to know the place where our salvation was born. Minjun led them on a tour. They walked through the corridors of the Blackstar, marveling at everything. The Talvari touched the walls gently, as if the ship itself was sacred. They asked questions about Earth, about humanity, about why humans had decided to help. In the mess hall, they shared food. The Talvari brought traditional dishes from their world. The crew brought out rations and whatever they could prepare on short notice. It became an impromptu celebration. Laughter echoed through the ship for the first time since the battle. Sung Ho sat with a group of young Talvari, translating stories about Earth. Dr. Kim discussed science with Talvari engineers, sharing ideas about peaceful technology. Hyejin helped Talvari children draw pictures of their families. Minjun stood apart, watching. This was what they had fought for. Not glory, not conquest. This moment right here. Families together. Children laughing. A species that would see tomorrow. Later, after the Talvari returned to their planet, Minjun gathered his senior officers in the conference room. Fleet Command has been trying to reach us, Hyejin reported. 47 messages so far. Each one more urgent than the last. What are they saying? Minjun asked. They want to know what we did. The Krell survivors reached their territory and reported that a single human ship destroyed an entire fleet. The Dominion is screaming about war crimes, demanding we be handed over for trial. Some on the Galactic Council are calling us war criminals too. Others are calling us heroes. It's complicated. What about Earth? Hyejin smiled slightly. Earth is backing us completely. They're saying we acted in defense of an allied species against genocide. The Talvari have already applied to join a mutual defense pact with humanity. We might have just changed galactic politics forever. Dr. Kim pulled up a holographic display. I've been analyzing the battle. The resonance technology performed beyond expectations. But, Captain, there's something you need to know. The power levels we used, especially with the Hammer Protocol, degraded the reactor. We can make it home, but the Blackstar will need months of repairs. She earned her rest, Minjun said. She did what she was designed to do. Protect the innocent. Sung Ho spoke up quietly. Sir, I need to say something. When we first engaged the Krell, I was terrified. I thought we were going to die. But during the battle, when I saw what our weapons did, I felt something else. I felt glad, happy that they were dying. And that scares me more than the battle did. Minjun met the young officer's eyes. You felt that way, because you're human, Sung Ho. We're capable of terrible things when we need to be. The question is whether we let that darkness control us, or whether we control it. You didn't enjoy killing. You enjoyed protecting. There's a difference. How do you know? Because if you enjoyed killing, you wouldn't be scared of that feeling. Monsters never question themselves. The room fell silent. Finally, Hyejin asked the question they were all thinking. What happens now? Minjun looked out the viewport at the Talvari worlds, where cities full of grateful survivors were rebuilding their lives. Now we go home and face whatever comes. We broke regulations, exceeded our authority, started what might become a galactic incident. But we also stopped a genocide, saved billions of lives. If humanity doesn't understand why we did that, Then we have bigger problems than disciplinary hearings. He stood, signaling the meeting's end. The Blackstar joined the battle. No alien fleet survived its wrath. Now we live with what that means. 3 weeks later, the USS Blackstar limped into Earth orbit. The reactor was failing. Burn marks scarred the hull. Every system pushed beyond its design limits. But the ship had made it home, carrying a crew that had changed the galaxy forever. Min-Jun stood on the bridge as Earth filled the view screen. The blue and green world had never looked more beautiful. Or more distant. He was not the same person who had left this planet 4 months ago. None of them were. "Fleet Command is hailing," Hyojin announced. "Admiral Thompson wants to speak with you directly." "Put her through." Admiral Sarah Thompson appeared on screen. She was 60 years old with gray hair and eyes that had seen everything the universe could throw at a career officer. Her expression was unreadable. "Captain Park, welcome home." "Admiral, I assume you want my resignation." Thompson smiled slightly. "What I want and what I'm going to get are two different things, Captain. You've caused quite a stir. The Krell Dominion wants your head. Half the Galactic Council is calling for sanctions against Earth. The other half wants to give you medals. Politicians are arguing. Diplomats are scrambling. It's a mess." "I understand, Admiral. I accept full responsibility for—" "Be quiet and let me finish," Thompson interrupted. "The President has reviewed your actions. So has the Security Council. Do you know what they found? That you did exactly what any human should do when faced with genocide. You stopped it. The fact that you violated about 40 different regulations to do it is, frankly, irrelevant compared to the 8 billion Talvari who are alive because of you." Min-Jun felt something loosen in his chest. "So we're not being court-martialed?" "Oh, there will be an inquiry, there always is. But between you and me, it's mostly theater to satisfy the diplomats. The real question is what happens next." "Admiral?" Thompson's expression grew serious. "Captain, the galaxy now knows that humanity possesses weapons capable of defeating fleets that have terrorized entire sectors. Every species out there is reassessing their relationship with Earth. Some want to be our friends. Some want to be our enemies. All of them want to know what we plan to do with the Blackstar and ships like it." "The Blackstar is unique," Dr. Kim interjected from her station. "The resonance technology requires years of development and resources most species don't have. It's not something that can be easily copied or mass-produced." "Which brings us to the real issue," Thompson said. "The Talvari aren't the only species facing extinction threats. Since word spread about your intervention, we've received 47 formal requests for help. Worlds being invaded, species facing genocide, pirates, raiders, and worse. Everyone wants Earth to send the Blackstar to save them." Min-Jun felt the weight of that statement. "We can't be everywhere at once." "No, you can't. But the Blackstar has become a symbol, Captain. Proof that someone will stand up to bullies and monsters. The question is whether Earth wants to be that someone. Whether humanity wants to be the protector the galaxy apparently needs. That's not a decision I can make, Admiral. No, it's not. That's for people far above both our pay grades. But they'll want your input. You and your crew are the only humans who have actually done this, who have faced a fleet bent on genocide and stopped it. Your experience matters." The transmission ended. Min-Jun sat in his command chair, processing everything. The bridge crew looked at him, waiting. "I never wanted to be a hero," he said quietly. "I just wanted to stop innocent people from dying." "Maybe that's exactly what a hero is," Hyojin replied. "Someone who does what's necessary when everyone else won't." Over the next week, the Blackstar underwent emergency repairs. The crew was given leave, debriefed, and debriefed again. Min-Jun met with politicians, military leaders, and representatives from dozens of alien species. Everyone wanted something from him: promises, commitments, assurances that Earth would use its power responsibly. The hardest meeting was with the Krell Dominion ambassador. The alien sat across from Min Jun in a sterile conference room, its scales dark and eyes cold. "You destroyed our fleet," the ambassador stated. "Hundreds of thousands dead." "Your fleet was committing genocide," Min Jun replied evenly. "They chose their path. I gave them a chance to surrender. They were following orders, doing their duty. Following orders doesn't excuse genocide. Your people learned that. Or they didn't, which is why they're dead." The Krell ambassador leaned forward. "Do you feel no remorse? No guilt for the lives you took?" Min Jun met those black eyes without flinching. "I feel remorse every day. I think about those Krell constantly. But I'd do it again to save the Talvari. Does that make me a monster? Maybe. But at least I'm a monster who protects innocent life instead of destroying it." The ambassador left without another word. Sung-Ho found Min Jun later that day in the observation deck, staring at Earth below. "Sir, I've been offered a transfer," the young officer said. "A teaching position at the academy. They want me to train the next generation of weapons officers on the new resonance systems. Will you take it?" Sung-Ho was quiet for a moment. "I don't know. Part of me wants to never fire a weapon again. But another part knows that what we did mattered. That somewhere out there, the Talvari children I met are growing up because we were willing to fight. I don't know how to balance those feelings." "Neither do I," Min Jun admitted. "But I think that's okay. The moment we become comfortable with violence is the moment we lose our humanity. The struggle, the doubt, the questions, those are what keep us from becoming like the Krell. Do you think we'll go out again? The Blackstar?" Min Jun looked at the damaged ship docked nearby. "I think the galaxy has changed, and I think Earth is going to have to decide what role it wants to play. Protector, peacekeeper, isolationist, I don't know. But whatever we choose, it needs to come from the right place, not from a desire for power or glory, but from a genuine commitment to protecting those who cannot protect themselves." 2 months later, Earth made its decision. The Blackstar would be repaired and upgraded. 5 more ships of the same class would be built. Humanity would not police the galaxy, but it would respond to genocide and mass atrocities. The Terran Protection Fleet was born, dedicated to one simple principle: no species should face extinction while humans have the power to prevent it. Min Jun remained captain of the Blackstar. Hye Jin became his second-in-command on the new fleet. Dr. Kim led the technology development program. Sung-Ho chose to stay, training new crews while serving aboard the ship that had proven humanity's commitment. On the day the Blackstar left dock for its first official Protection Fleet mission, Min Jun stood on the bridge and thought about how far they had come. One ship had joined a battle and saved a species. Now humanity was building a fleet to save others. It would not be easy. There would be more battles, more hard choices, more nights wondering if they had become the very thing they fought against. But that was the price of standing up to evil, the cost of caring when it would be easier to look away. Ambassador Talvik sent a final message before they departed. It was simple and direct. "Thank you for showing the galaxy that someone cares, that hope is not dead, that monsters can be stopped. May the stars guide you to those who need you most." Min Jun read it aloud to his crew. "The USS Blackstar joined the battle," he said. "No alien fleet survived its wrath. Now we make sure that wrath is always aimed at those who deserve it, at the monsters, at the genocidal, at those who prey on the innocent. We are humanity's sword, and we will not fail those who need us." The Black Star's engines ignited, carrying it toward the stars and whatever challenges waited there. Behind it, Earth stood ready to build more ships, train more crews, and prove that in a galaxy full of darkness, humanity would be the light that never went out.